This is Dahboo7, an update to what's going on with Yellowstone and a look at some activity on the Ring of Fire. Now here recently I've talked about the supervolcanoes and I've talked about some of the new data that the scientists have presented in terms of Yellowstone. What we have here all the way around is talk of an uptick in action around the Ring of Fire with an uptick in volcanic activity. We've seen some recent earthquake activity. All of it, all the major quakes that we've seen here thus far the past couple months have struck on this Ring of Fire in terms of Japan, Taiwan, Mexico City. The one we just witnessed here within the past 48 hours or so in this region also hit on the Ring of Fire. New Zealand has been quiet for some time. This area up and through here into Tonga, Solomon Islands is among the most active in the world in terms of earthquakes in a volcanic region. So it shows a correlation there between the two. Let's not forget that there's a huge patch of ocean floor that is constantly breaking apart out here where the plates are turning into like molten. They're like crumbling. It's a very unique thing that's going on there in that region. Now, we also have up here south of Japan, well, we have the string of volcanoes south of Japan, but then we have this massive supervolcano that sits underwater about 30 miles south of Japan's last island there. This caldera is about 5 to 7 miles in width, and it has a bulge in it. Now, if that thing was to erupt, it would have water pouring in to cool it quicker than a land-based volcano. Issue is when that happens, it can be really violent with the water hitting the lava, the steam, and everything just kind of exploding. That's why they say if that was to happen, 100 million people could die if that was to erupt in that region. Now, of course, that's going to affect the whole northern hemisphere, and so too would Yellowstone. So we have to look at, where these supervolcanoes are situated on the globe, with several in the northern hemisphere. And this is also why we've seen elites, rich people, buying up land down here in the Patagonia, where you see no earthquakes, there's no volcanoes on this side. And really, they think it'd be a safe haven in case something bad happens in the future in terms of a volcanic explosion. Now, if we take a look at what's going on with Yellowstone specifically, they have talked about how they just stuck these little sensors down around it, and there's definitely a bulge happening. There's great stress happening on Yellowstone. Now, this concerns me, obviously, because I don't want life to end for all of us in the blink of an eye, and that's what could happen if Yellowstone was to erupt, or any of these supervolcanoes. It could affect all of us. Even if ones in Italy were to explode, it would still affect this whole northern hemisphere and the whole world as you know it. Life would never be the same for none of us. Even if you did have the money and you escaped down to the Patagonia, life would never be the same. It would be every day wondering what's going on with the rest of the world and survival and the food, transportation, medicine, everything. The flow of information, the way that it was moving, everything will be shifted. So it's something to think about. Now, if we look at the quake maps, we look here at the United States, you're going to see that an area of the most recent activity just so happens to be Yellowstone. This is western Yellowstone, where we're seeing a pretty good swarm ongoing here. I'll switch over to satellite here. We'll zoom in. This is east of Black Mountain. And you can also see here West Yellowstone Airport and everything else. The whole main thing is situated right here. So we have this ongoing swarm in the region, and we've seen these swarms before in the past. wondering, okay, is this going to set off something, a chain of events in the region? I think it's wise to always keep your eyes on what's going on around a volcano in terms of earthquake activity. It could be magma on the move, which we've seen in the past. But with this, I just wanted to point out we do have an ongoing swarm once again here of decent level quakes. If this shifts, starts to move more toward the caldera, if it picks up in intensity, I'll update. But this is an update on the region, on the situation here. I will leave links below, and as always, I will continue to update if anything else changes. But make sure to follow me on Twitter as well. And if you don't, have a plan. Sit down and think about what you would do one day if something like this did happen. It may make all the difference. It's been Dahboo7. Peace.